On October 9th, 2006, Google stole YouTube for $1.65 billion. Now, $1.65 billion is a lot of money, but it is a lot less than some believe YouTube is worth today, as much as 200 times less. That's right, in 2019, a Wall Street analyst valued YouTube at $300 billion. Did Google make out like bandits? Or are the YouTube founders kicking themselves for leaving money on the table? Well, the story is a bit more complicated than that. But before we begin, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. This is one of the great tech acquisitions of all time, but we have plenty more stories to share, and we don't want you to miss out on any of them. This is the insane story of how Google stole YouTube.
Hi YouTube, this is Chad and Steve. We're the co-founders of the site, and we just want to say thank you. Today we have some exciting news for you. We've been acquired by Google.
Advertising is the next step in the evolution of the internet. Google's acquisition of YouTube revolutionized the advertising industry and solidified Google as the tech powerhouse, but it was highly criticized at the time. Just days after the acquisition, investor Mark Cuban said that only a moron would buy YouTube. Cuban went on to defend his position and cautioned advertisers. At the time, Mark Cuban believed viral videos wouldn't get more than 60,000 views, and YouTube would not survive the tsunami of copyright infringement legal cases. I think we all know by now that Mark Cuban was wrong. Way wrong. YouTube is currently the second most visited website in the world, has 500 new videos uploaded every minute, and 1 billion hours of content consumed every day. But what the hell did Google know that he didn't? Is Google just better at predicting the future? Or did Google executives and employees have access to data not available to the public? YouTube has experienced exponential growth since its founding in 2005. Within a year of launching, YouTube had 50 million users and was receiving 46% of all online video traffic, making it the perfect platform to launch targeted ads at viewers. In comparison, MySpace only had 23% of traffic at the time, and Google Video had 10%. However, this growth was a massive headache for YouTube's small team. The engineering team was burning through hard drives and servers and was struggling to build out the necessary infrastructure to support the surge in online traffic. They needed a Guilfoyle, but he was nowhere to be found.
That's problematic. I'll get on that next.
In addition to the engineers being underwater, YouTube had a piracy problem on its hands. Pirated content was flooding the platform, and the company was hit with a wave of copyright infringement legal cases. The technical and legal challenges formed a perfect storm and forced the founders to explore a sale of the company earlier than they would have liked. It was only a matter of time until Microsoft, Google, Yahoo, Viacom, and News Corporation were in a bidding war. These companies were offering millions of dollars and a slew of perks, but the founders of YouTube wanted something more than money. They wanted YouTube to become a household name and not some defunct product. Google had to show the YouTube founders just how serious it was. They had to demonstrate conviction. Google shut down Google Video, which was led by Susan Wojcicki, who is now CEO of YouTube. Google wanted its own video product to become the de facto video sharing platform. However, it failed to gain traction. And when a product can't gain traction or scale, your next business move is to buy your way into the market. Enter the CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt. As Google's first CEO, Eric knew how to work with founders. He worked with Larry Page and Sergey Brin every day. Eric knew how to convince the YouTube team that Google was the best future home for their famed video sharing website. Executives at Google had an old-fashioned heart-to-heart, and they closed on the deal. In a press conference announcing the acquisition, YouTube co-founders talked about how they were drawn to Google because of the culture fit and startup mentality. Google CEO Eric Schmidt said that YouTube's founding team reminded him of Google's co-founders when they were just launching Google Search. Make no mistake, much of this historical account is revisionist history and showmanship. In reality, YouTube was in trouble. It was cornered and needed a lifeline to survive. To differentiate from Microsoft or Yahoo, Google went above and beyond to seal the deal. First, Google offered YouTube so much more money than any other company offered. Second, Google promised the founders that YouTube would stay independent. And most importantly, Google had ample legal resources at its disposal, which YouTube desperately needed. Let's break this down and add some quick context. The first part, the money, is the most straightforward. Google offered YouTube $1.65 billion, outbidding Yahoo and other tech titans. Yahoo, Microsoft, and News Corporation were furious and called Google crazy to offer a sum of this magnitude. With the luxury of hindsight, Yahoo's criticism of the acquisition is comical. This is the same company that offered Mark Cuban $5.7 billion for Broadcast.com, To this day, this is widely considered one of the worst business deals of the dot-com era, and Yahoo is now considered one of the biggest flops of the decade. The second reason is a bit harder to understand, but is very important. Google promised YouTube that it would stay independent. Being less than a year old, YouTube's co-founders weren't quite ready to part with their baby. But it was an offer they couldn't refuse. Not only did Google allow the fledgling company to keep its name and its 65 employees, but they also let them keep its office space. Seems small, I know, but sometimes the bird's not ready to leave the nest. And finally, the last reason YouTube decided to sell to Google was that they promised to defend the platform from the mounting copyright infringement issues. Just like fellow media sharing startup Napster, YouTube was caught in the middle of a legal Armageddon. Fear was spreading throughout Silicon Valley that they might follow in Sean Parker's footsteps and be forced to shut down. But why did Google want YouTube so badly? Why were they hell-bent on paying a premium for a video sharing platform faced with looming legal issues? Google didn't just buy YouTube out of goodwill, they were buying out the competition. YouTube was slaughtering Google Video. This acquisition allowed Google to consolidate its tech stack and resources. It allowed their engineers, product managers, and executives to focus on YouTube and its eventual monetization. So we've set the stage. The YouTube founders get stupid rich, the company stayed relatively independent for a period of time, and was provided much needed legal assistance from Google. In exchange, Google received an up-and-coming startup and bought out serious competition to their own platform. The question is, was it worth it? For YouTube, absolutely. Imagine coming up with an idea and selling it less than a year later to one of the biggest tech titans in Silicon Valley for about 4 times what it's worth, and getting to stay independent. For these guys, the acquisition was pretty much a no-brainer. They'd be foolish not to have done it. But what about Google? Was this acquisition worth it for them? Video was a new business vertical that was vastly different from their core product, Google Search, the de facto search engine for billions of people worldwide. YouTube has grown every year since its inception, and it continues to grow. Today, YouTube has 500 hours of uploaded content per minute. That means that there are almost 263 million hours of content uploaded to YouTube every year. Take a minute to let that sink in. The sheer quantity of visitors and uploads means one thing: money. With so much content being posted every day and ads running rampant across the site, YouTube's revenue has grown faster than Hugh Jackman transforming into Wolverine. In 2010, YouTube's revenue hit $800 million. By 2020, YouTube's revenue came in at $19.8 billion, and it is showing no signs of slowing down. Today, some estimates value YouTube at $300 billion if it were a standalone company. Google always knew that YouTube was a long play, and that's why they were willing to overpay for it. They got in early for a reason, and given its skyrocketing growth and unique business model that continues to attract millions of creators every year, we believe the amount Google paid for YouTube was a steal. And we're pretty sure they feel the same way. That's all for today. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and let us know what you think about the acquisition.